Well, hello, it's Catherine from Catherine Pooler Designs. In this video, we're going to look at the Bear Hugs bundle. We'll look at the products and create a few cards. This is part of our Hey There Honey release, which also includes our new ink colors. Woohoo! Honeycomb and Amber. They join our Spa Orange Yellows, so that sauna is not lonely anymore. We have two beautiful new shades. So we have a light, medium, and dark for orange yellow. Our newsletter subscribers have been sent the updated color wheel, but if you have not received it yet, head over to catherinepooler.com/CW and you can download this useful tool. These new ink pads are on our same firm foam. They are beautiful for stamping, direct to paper, watercoloring, ink blending, and so many more amazing ink stamping techniques. You can get them, of course, in mini ink pads, ink refills, side labels, and I also included here a quick look at our Spa Yellows, Whipped Honey, Shea Butter, and Goldenrod. You'll love these colors for all kinds of stamping projects. You always need good yellows, right? And it's going to go great with our new Bear Hugs bundle. We have the bear stamp sets. We have a little beehive. We have the patterned paper. Hey there, honey. I've been using it like nobody's business. I only have scraps left, guys. Several of the sheets, they're very image heavy to coordinate with the stamps, and then we have patterns to match. And then our color palette, we have quartz, clay mask, whipped honey, honeycomb, sea foam, sea glass, over coffee, and s'mores. We have a brand new sequin mix. Look at this gorgeous gold situation. And then stamps and dies. So the Bear Hug stamp set has a standing bear and a laying down bear with some bear accoutrements and some fun sentiments. And then we have the Bee Hive die. So we have a beehive. It has a little door, a heart, and it has a couple flowers and a fun bee to assemble. Before we dive into using these stamps and dies and paper and sequins, let's look at a few inspirational cards made by our card makers and also by myself. So some of these you will find on Instagram as reels. So be sure to head over, find Catherine Pooler Designs and follow us. I would love it. Stamping the bear. Oh my gosh, he is so adorable. We couldn't just have a bear that you color in. We had to have the stamps to stamp inside also so that you can color or stamp. So let's look at how you would do both of these. I'm stamping many times because one, my ink pad is a little bit dry. Note to self, grab a midnight ink refill from the warehouse. And watercolor cardstock has texture. So to make sure you get into all the crevices and the texture parts of the cardstock, I really like stamping multiple times and with a stamping platform. So this one is the stencil and stamp tool from Sizzix, and you can purchase it in our shop. I absolutely love it. It has other attachments that go with it. So we have the stencil attachment, the stamping attachment, and also a stamp and spin attachment. So I used our Midnight ink pad, which is archival and waterproof, and I'm using over coffee ink to color him in. So I used the blender pen first and I just dabbed it on my clear acrylic block. Any slick surface is going to work. Also make sure it's clean. And then I used a blender pen at first on the top. And then I decided I wanted to try a really thin paintbrush. So I'm just getting ink and coloring in, and I ended up absolutely loving the look that I achieved from the paintbrush. I have not painted stamped images much lately, but I think I'm gonna start doing it because look at how cute this is. I love the lines and the texture that you can get, and I purposely left it a little messy looking. It's just a fun look. I really like it. I'm using rose petals for his shirt, and I'm adding extra ink going over several times on the sides so that he looks rounded. I did that with the over coffee ink as well. And then for his head, I ended up deciding to go over that with the paintbrush as well to give it a little bit more of a painted look. For stamping the bears instead of coloring, it's pretty easy to do and you can get really good looks. So we're going to do the two bears in over coffee, and I'm using the stamping platform for a couple reasons. One, it's a very large image, so I want to be able to stamp multiple times to make sure I get it full, totally stamped, etc. And you're going to see here in a sec, there was a little spot on my laying down bear. I wiped my stamp off, but then I still had that little spot. So I took a blender pen, dabbed it in my pad, and boom, filled it in. Now for making him look round, I'm using I think this is the Over Coffee ink pad again. Catherine Pooler ink pads are translucent, so you can build up the color. And if I stamp this multiple times, his belly, where I'm adding ink, is going to get darker. But it wasn't getting dark enough for what I wanted. So I grabbed my s'mores ink pad and I'm just adding s'mores to a few areas on the bear. And you can see there's a little bit of a harsh line. So you want to take your ink blending brush and just buff it out and make it so that it's going to be kind of a smooth transition from light to dark, kind of ombre. Well, not kind of, it is ombre. And then honeycomb for my other pieces. So I have the honey jar, the beehive, and the honey stick. Next up, I'm stamping the outlines of the bears, and then I'll be able to line the striped stamp up with the stamped image. I'm going to stamp it in seafoam and then add extra ink to the edges to darken that, again, making the bear look round. Sea glass is a shade darker than seafoam, so I'm grabbing that to make it easier to get that shading. Just 1 or 2 passes and I achieved the look I was going for. And then the small stamps are pretty easy to just freehand stamp those outlines. And can't forget the bees. Time for die cutting, and then these adorable images will be ready to adorn cards. Which bear is your favorite? Standing bear or laying bear? The laying bear makes me giggle because we made the honey pot so that it goes on his belly, and he just ate way too much, and now he's had enough. A little extra something on the bear. So he has the wings on his back. How cute is that? And I think they need to be glittered. So a little bit of halo embossing glitter. Add that with a glue pen or the media brush and heat it. And you've got glittery bee wings on the bear. And he's so cute. The Bee Hive Dies. So we're going to die cut a large beehive. We have the door, we have a little heart, a bee that has 3 pieces, and a couple flowers with centers. So let's take a look at a bunch of ways you can make these die cuts special with different paper crafting supplies. So first up, we're using the mixed media brush by Wow. It's with Seth Apter, and it's great when adding embossing fluid to a die cut. I'm doing it on the center of the flower and the bee body, and I added a little bit of 2-way glue to this piece of cardstock so that they'll stay in place while I'm embossing them. I'm using our new Dipped in Honey embossing glitter with Wow. It was made especially for this collection. It's a beautiful gold glittery embossing glitter. So just shake that excess off, heat it, and I think that made these die cuts pretty special. I thought the wings for the bee would be beautiful with halo embossing glitter. And stay tuned because later in the video I'm going to do something else with the wings. Since I cut all of these out with white cardstock, which is usually my preference for a couple reasons. One, when I die cut all of my pieces, sometimes I'm not sure what color I want the different die cuts to be. And so if they're white, then I can color them as I'm creating. Then they also match my project perfectly with the patterned paper and anything else that I'm using the color for. And it's a win-win for me. And for the beehive, I'm ink blending it with honeycomb, and we're going to then add amber and s'mores ink, building up that color around the edges, especially on the left-hand side a little bit more, leaving a little bit of almost white on the right-hand top side there to make it look dimensional. S'mores, I'm just adding just a tiny bit. The beehive needs a door, the door needs a heart, and the beehive needs some accenting with a white gel pen. I think that looks so cute. And then I'm adding a little liquid gloss to the heart, and it's going to dry hard and shiny and look like enamel. This takes quite a while to dry, so be sure to set it aside and don't put another project on top of it. We'll assemble the bee, we'll assemble some flowers, and the little honey stick I thought would look really cute with clear embossing powder over it. So it'll give it a nice shine like it's wet honey. I want to jazz up some of these flowers as well. So the quartz flower, I'm ink blending the edges with rose petals. I think this just really adds some great dimension. And then we're going to add some white gel pen to the edges. Next, I'm adding a s'mores center and then a smaller white center. And then I'm adding liquid gloss to the white center, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of halo embossing glitter over the top. One thing I love about creating products for you is that when our designers and customers get them in their hands, we tend to see them use them in different ways than we thought of. When I was making the bee, I put the wings on top of the body, and Karen in our office made her bee with the wings on the bottom. I think either works, and I'm going with both. So this next bee I made has vellum wings, and the one on the left has just white cardstock wings, and then we have the glitter wings. Now it's time to make some cards. So the first card I'm going to make, I'm just using a strip of patterned paper, and I'm putting it over a 3 3/4 by 5 inch layer. And the piece of patterned paper is 4 1/4 inches. I'm not sure how tall it is, maybe 2 inches or so. And I'm centering that on the panel, adding it to my card front. And then I have 2 more pieces of patterned paper from the Hey There Honey patterned paper pack, and I just cut a couple strips and did an angle on the end, so just freehand those. Those are going to make a little backdrop for my fun lounging stuffed bear with the honey. And I love how I can barely contain my excitement, and he's just stuffed of honey and exhausted. For the next card, I'm going to use my Stamp and Spin tool, and it goes on the same platform as my stencil and stamp tool. Just pull that platform cover off and add in the Stamp and Spin accessory. I'm going to use the honey pot, the beehive, and the honey stick, and I'm going to stamp a circle of them. So I'm going to pick those stamps up with the door and just ink them with s'mores ink. Turn the wheel, ink, stamp, turn, ink, stamp, turn, ink, stamp, turn. Stamping the image to color in all these line art images is pretty easy. They're small, and I'm using a light colored ink. So if I'm not completely accurate, you're not really going to be able to tell. And plus, I'm going to add a bunch of stuff on top of this. So this circle, wreath, beehive, honey situation is going to kind of be a backdrop. Pull that off the Stamp and Spin. And I already got my card base started. I'm using a piece of patterned paper from the Hey There Honey pack and just adding a little panel down at the bottom. And then I have foam tape on the back of my design panel, wrapping twine around it and giving a little tie. I cut a little banner tag from our Party Tags die set. I will link everything in the description below so that you can check these products out in the shop. But this tag die set is a total staple. It's great for cards, gift bags, little treats, scrapbook pages. Also fantastic for a sentiment. We're going to tuck this bear into a field of flowers, and I have to reach for this striped paper again. I'm just going to add a little strip at the bottom of that sentiment banner. My bear is adhered right to the banner as well, and we'll pop him on the card, add a few more flowers, and we're done. Our final card for this video, we're using the Ruffles and Dashes dies for our sentiment piece, and this is going to go over the card base with a layer of patterned paper. I'm adding foam tape to the entire layer here with the beehive and the sentiment piece and the bear, and popping that onto the patterned paper, adhering that to the card base, and then adding an adorable pink flower. I just really love how all these products go together. There are so many design options. I was done here with these cards, but I felt like we needed a couple bees in that wreath there. So That was very risky though. I could have messed that card up. But I added a few bees, so stinking cute, and I'm really happy about these cards. A little more liquid gloss, some more glitter. I hope you enjoyed my cards and all of these new products. They'll be available on May 7th in the Catherine Pooler Designs shop. Again, everything will be linked below. Subscribe, like, and share, and we will see you again really soon.